What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of Football Talk. That's right. We are back on this Saturday morning of September 7th, 2013. So, how you guys doing this morning? I know I'm doing good. As we go ahead and jump right into it, from last week. Big win for Clemson. Definitely taking down the Dogs has submit them as one of the top teams. I know they moved in to be number 4 this year already, so that's something interesting. As actually Oregon hopped over Ohio State, which I was surprised. I don't know why they weren't doing this last year, but who knows. So those are really the two. Well, and one other thing. Actually, two other things. Man, as I got some stuff in my throat. Definitely Alabama looked weak against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's defense is good anyways, but Alabama was very hesitant on offense. Their defense is fine, but of course they were facing a terrible Hokies offense. But without those two returns off of punt and kickoff, they were not going to. They just didn't look as good, honestly, to me. I don't know why. I'm already yawning a minute already into the talk, so that's not a good thing. But they didn't look as good as I thought they would against Virginia Tech. I thought it was gonna be a slaughter, and it really wasn't. I think another thing that we gotta really take a look at as the coming weeks in college football is the FCS schools. Which are the Division 1A, Division 1 2A, and Division 2. Those schools have been surprising us, as we saw Eastern Washington last week take down Oregon State. We had Townsend beat UConn. All these people who you'd think would expect to win, but they didn't. I always root for the smaller schools. Ever since Appalachian State shocked Michigan, I've always rooted for them. I was rooting for them anyways. My sister went to a small school. I even go to a small school in Valdosta State, as we head over to Fort Valley today to face one of our rivals in Macon. I'm happy to see the small schools actually get into it and actually do something with that money that they are getting from coming there. Oregon State paid $450,000 for them to come, and then they get beat. So, sorry. So, it's something interesting to kind of look at in the coming weeks of college football. But we're gonna go ahead and move on to we'll kind of recap of what has happened in the world of football already. Last night and Thursday night. Thursday night we had ECU and Florida International. ECU won that one 31-13 at home. They were sporting their all-black unis, and it was a pretty good game. I caught a little bit of it, switching back between that and the NFL game that night. And it was actually interesting to see how fast-paced ECU has turned out. Everybody's running the pistol offense nowadays in college football. I think maybe only 4 or 5 teams that I've really seen are still running West Coast offenses or pro offenses, or even one back sets. A lot of run and shoot still around. No air raid, really. No air raid still around. A lot of run and shoot. Pistol offense seems to be the primary. Primary thing across all leagues right now. Interesting. Last night, Wake Forest and Boston College played an ACC matchup. Definitely luck, both of those teams. It's interesting to see both those teams actually get on TV. You never really see Boston College anymore, or Wake Forest for that matter, on TV. But Boston College wins 24-10 in a one-sided affair. It really was. If you look at the stats, I think it was about 5 minutes left in the. It was about 10 minutes. It's about 5 minutes in. No. It was right at the start of the second quarter. They brought out the time of possession, and Wake Forest had the ball for 10 minutes and 15 seconds, okay? And they only had 7 points on the board. Then Boston College had, I mean, it's not that bad of a deal. I mean, you got 5 minutes on the board of time of possession, but you're up 17-7. I mean, that shows how one-sided. And Wake Forest was trying to do a bunch of pitches, and they were failing, and it was bad, but it was also kind of cool to see, almost see the pistol offense not work. But so Boston College picks up the win in their first ACC matchup. So I was pretty happy to see them to win. I mean, I like both teams. So last night we also had Central Florida and Florida International. The Knights of Central Florida blew out the Panthers. Blew the Panthers of FIU 38-0, like they should. I mean, honestly, if you really look at it, the Knights have got to win that game just to stay kind of in contention for the Conference USA title. I really are they on the? Are they in the American League now? American Athletic Conference. I think they're still in the Conference USA, because then the Big East and parts of the Conference USA merged. I'm gonna check that real quick. Actually, I believe they are not. If they are, nope. UCF is part of the American Athletic Conference. So American Athletic Conference. So I mean, I would expect them to win. Honestly, I mean, it is FIU. So from the scores of the week so far to the good old predictions. As Florida State did win, by the way, and Louisville did win from last week, or from this week technically. Man, Florida State won big, dear Lord. All right, so predictions for this week: Florida Gators and Miami Hurricanes at the 12 o'clock game on ESPN today. Miami will win due to Duke's running against a not-so-good D from the Gators. That's honestly a good prediction on my part. In my opinion, these are all in my opinion. Everything that I say in this entire show, again, is in my opinion. So, I think Miami will win this game just because Toledo gave the Gators fits, even though the Gators won that game by pretty handily. But Florida is not as strong as they should be. An A or a B, technically. Dear Lord, I can't even think this morning. B, Florida is not, should not be up in the top 10, in my opinion. I mean, I like the Gators, but I think the Hurricanes will win this game. Just because I think Duke is way too good of a running back not to pick up the win, and Kay Lance will like that. Shout out to him. As we move on to another kind of ACC matchup, Oregon heads to Virginia, and Oregon will probably win big against Virginia. I mean, honestly, it's Oregon against Virginia. Now, I will have to say this, in my opinion, okay? Virginia's defense will give Oregon a fit. And if Virginia wins that game, I would not be surprised. But I'm not going to say they will. But if they do, I will not be surprised because, hey, you can really never tell whenever a Pac-12 team goes out east. Honestly, to an Eastern Coast team. I'm just saying that just from history. It depends on who they play. As we move on to another ACC kind of matchup, Duke versus Memphis. Duke will pick up the win on the road. I think Duke is a better team than Memphis is. And plus, I'll root for the Blue Devils over the Tigers any day. Syracuse and Northwestern. Now, before I get into that pick, these predictions, they're not going to be as long as the one from last week. Just because I'm a little bit more focused on the NFL side of stuff today compared to the NCAA. So I'm only kind of picking up the matchups that I'm going to be looking out for and I'm going to be kind of watching for. So moving into the Syracuse and Northwestern game, Northwestern will win and go 2-0 on the season. I think Northwestern, if they have, if everybody's back healthy and playing, Syracuse will not touch them at home. Northwestern, you got home field advantage. You got, it's just Northwestern. I believe in Northwestern. So that's just who I'm picking for that game. West Virginia and Oklahoma. The Sooners will win at home to improve the 2-0 as well. I don't think West Virginia is as strong as everybody makes them out to be, especially last year. And everyone's like, oh man, Geno Smith going, video game numbers with those 8 touchdowns and however many yards in those first 2 games. But once they hit Big 12 play, they were done. So I think Oklahoma will win that game. Texas at BYU. I think Texas will win this game, and keep their kind of BCS aspirations alive. But I think if BYU wins this game, it will not be surprising to see Texas drop out of the top 25. Just because it's a non-conference play. Plus, you're on the road. And if you lose big, then you'll be gone. If BYU wins, I'll be happy because I'm not a Longhorns fan. I can't believe I'm actually picking the Longhorns or even the Sooners. But I think that Texas will win the game. So that's what I gotta say on that. So then University of South Florida heads into Michigan State, and Michigan State will win this one at home. It's the Spartans. I'll pick the Spartans over anybody, basically, depending on what the matchup is. I usually support Michigan State, Penn State, and Northwestern in the Big Ten. Those are like really the only teams I really support. Mainly Penn State and Michigan State. But I'm gonna say Michigan State will win that game. South Florida got beat by an FCS team. So I wouldn't be surprised for Michigan State to beat them. Penn State heads in. Actually, no, Penn State actually has Eastern Michigan at home. And so we actually played this game in my Penn State Return to Primetime Dynasty as we went into Eastern Michigan and killed them. Which I predict the same. Penn State will win this one. The Eagles are decent on defense, but I think the Nittany Lions are pretty strong this year. I mean, they had nothing to lose, honestly. So, I mean, they'll go for they'll go on like 4th and 15 because they're our bowl band for like the next 2 years, or 4 years. I keep on yawning as the coach of the Wolverines is on game day right now. So, yeah, Penn State will win this one against the Eagles. I think it's kind of easy to know that's going to happen. Cincinnati and Illinois. I'm picking Munchie and Cincinnati to win. I hate their coach, but I like Cincinnati Bearcats. I'll support Cincinnati Bearcat football. I mean, I like the Illini too, but Illinois, they're gonna lose. I don't think they're as strong as they once were, which is saying something because I mean they weren't really strong to begin with, but you know what I mean. And then heading into basically the two matchups I'm really focusing on. I am neither fan of both these teams, but I'd rather see one team win over the other. Notre Dame heads into the Big House tonight as they take on the Michigan Wolverines. This is the last matchup of these two teams that will ever be played, unless they save it, honestly, because Brian Kelly's an idiot, and the BCS are retarded anyways. Excuse my French. They don't. I mean, it's just bad. I don't know. Notre Dame. I'm gonna pick Michigan to win this game in the last game between these teams at night at the Big House. I'm gonna pick Michigan. I gotta pick Michigan. Wolverines. They've won 6 out of the last 7. So and I don't like either team, but I gotta pick Michigan. I don't want Notre Dame to win because I hate Notre Dame more than I hate Michigan. So let's go Michigan. I'll be watching that game tonight. Just be like, yay for the loss for Notre Dame. And then the next one, it is here in Georgia. It is South Carolina taking on Georgia. South Carolina wins between the hedges as Clowney proves he's just as good as he was last year by killing Aaron Murray and the Chihuahuas of UGA. I really could see this being another blowout like it was last year. South Carolina got out to a 21-0 start, and then looked back. They won 35-7 that game last year. I think South Carolina will win this game just because I think Georgia's not as good as they once were. But Todd Gurley will probably run the crap out of that defense. But Clowney will bounce back and have a big game. I'm saying South Carolina will win this game. I picked the South Carolina team last week to beat Georgia, and it worked. So, why not pick the Gamecocks this week? USC, my boys, the Trojans, take on Washington State. USC will win to stay in the top 25. They're number 25 right now. They'll win. They'll win. I believe in them. USC all the way. Trojans, let's go. Stanford. Stanford actually plays their first game of the year this week against San Jose State, which is a rival to them. Stanford will win or open up the 2013 national title campaign. Not saying they will win, but they could make it to the dance. Honestly, they are the team that I am kind of picking to go up against the SEC automatic qualifier in the BCS National Championship game. I mean, it's kind of easy to know that whoever is in the SEC is going to get into the title game. I mean, it's just known that that's going to happen. So just based on how the BCS works, quote unquote, money does everything for everybody. So Stanford will win this game because Stanford is awesome, and I love the Cardinals. I'm a huge Trojan fan and hate that triple overtime loss a couple years ago, but I got to give props to Stanford. David Shaw. Is it David Shaw? Yeah, I think it is David Shaw. He's a great coach. I know he inherited some stuff from Harbaugh, but that team, they should have beat Notre Dame last year. Again, I'm not gonna get into that because I don't really want to get all up and hot and bothered over it. Because Saints Row is on TV. Stanford wins this game. I'd say it's going to be a lot closer than everybody thinks it will be. Number 5, Stanford Cardinals. Let's go all the way. So now moving over to D2 because I got to, those are some of the games I want to talk about. So now heading over to D2, I got to talk about my boys, Valdosta State Blazers. They head into Fort Valley State. Valdosta will open up their national title defense against rival Fort Valley State in Macon, Georgia this weekend. That's a 2 o'clock game today. I could leave right now and go watch it, but I'm staying here to do football talk because I got to keep stuff consistent. Valdosta State Blazers, that's where I go to school. And, I got to represent. I have to represent the Blazers. There's no way I cannot represent the Blazers. Go look on Twitter here in a second. I'm going to post what I'm drinking coffee out of. I cannot not represent the Blazers. I have to. I'm not going there. I'm going to the home game in a couple weeks because I have to. Just because they are definitely title contenders. They're number 1 in the nation starting off this year in D2. If you guys have not seen Valdosta State football, you guys better see Valdosta State football. Just because it's Valdosta State. You have to watch it. If it comes on ESPN3 or watch ESPN, whatever they want to heck to call it, watch it. That's all you got to do. Just watch the game, and you'll be surprised at how good we are. It's amazing. That's all I'm going to say about that game. We're going to kill Fort Valley State because they're our rivals, and they deserved to be underneath our boot. Let's do it. All right. So I'm about to tweet out. Here we go. Representing VSU. That's how we do it down here in the South. Gonna send out that picture of what I'm drinking out of. And so have fun. So now moving over to what is actually going on this weekend I'm more excited about. The NFL returns on Sundays as we witnessed a blowout this Thursday night though. Baltimore and Denver. Broncos win 49-27 as Manning throws 7 touchdowns and shows his arm off for only Denver to see. It's week 1, so anything can happen. Can Manning produce this every game? Or is this just a fluke? So I just read that off because I wrote that down last night. The Broncos, they looked good, but the Ravens didn't look very good. There was a lot of miscommunication. Ravens are not going to win that division. Bengals all the way. Bengals go to if the Bengals and Texans are going to the AFC Championship game. That's all I'm going to say. I know it probably won't happen, but that's just how I look at it. This is who I want to go and who I want to succeed this year. Definitely was surprised that Manning would get my opponent in fantasy football. 74 freaking points. I am done for the week, basically. Unless Brady, which I pray to God that Buffalo does not show up this Sunday, because I want Brady to throw 9 touchdowns or 10 touchdowns and give me 100 points and beat the crap out of my opponent this week. That's who I want to win. All right, so, Manning did good. Yeah, It was okay. I really didn't really see any like impressive stuff like, this week. First week of the season, if they've already hit their stride coming out of the gate, then they're done for by November. I mean, look traditionally. Look at the Chargers when LT still played for them. Amazing, amazing, amazing football. November hits, you're done. That's just how it is. I could see them, honestly. I could see them going to the AFC title game this year, but I don't think it will happen. I think there are too good of teams in the AFC that can possibly challenge them and beat them. I mean, honestly. The NFC is the most open, though, in the way of people coming up and stepping up. So we won't get into that. So as I get into my prediction, I'm going to take a swig of coffee real quick. Okay. My nose is running. So first game that I'm going to talk about, Atlanta and the Saints. Falcons will start off hot against a bad defense, picking up a win in the Superdome. This game is going to be interesting because good old Falcon defense, everybody's like, oh, man, they made some improvements. In my opinion, Falcons are going to still be the same defense. Their offense is still going to be amazing. It's going to be a shootout. I think every single game this year between some of the best teams in the game of football will be shootouts. Just like I think the Green Bay Packer game will be a shootout. But the Falcons will win because Tony G will get me so much fantasy points that won't even be funny. So, Atlanta wins the Superdome. It's pretty much that. If they don't win, then they're not going anywhere this year. If they can't beat New Orleans, come on now. That defense, I don't care if Sean Payton's back. That defense is 7,048 yards given up. I don't know. We'll see what happens this Sunday. Again, anybody can win on any given Sunday. Green Bay Packers at 49ers. Candlestick Park. Rematch from last year's divisional round playoff. Green Bay gets revenge from December and shuts down Kaepernick at Candlestick. That's all I'm going to say. I cannot pick against my Packers. I'm not bred to be able to do that. Now, if it was like a Packers team with no Aaron Rodgers, no Jordy Nelson, no James Jones, no Finley, no offensive line, and it was just that defense versus like the Patriots, heck yeah, I'd pick the Patriots. But we have Rodgers. We have James Jones, who only dropped 9 passes last year when he was thrown to, 84 times? Come on. So I'm going Green Bay. I have to go Green Bay. I'm going to be representing my Brett Favre. Brett Favre's going to be in the house with me tomorrow. You guys should see what my old room looked like. You guys should see what my living room looks like now. I'm just going to say that. All right. Green Bay wins. Beats 49ers. Kaepernick will break his leg in the game. I'm just not a Kaepernick fan. I'm not a Kaepernick fan because of what he did to the Packers. I will become a fan of Kaepernick whenever he has 16 solid games, he stays healthy, and he makes it to the Super Bowl again. Okay? That's whenever he will show me that he's made of something. He only played 6 regular season games and 4 games in the playoffs. So we'll see what's going to happen. So that's just what I'm going to say. I don't hate the guy. I'm just not a fan of him. I'm not going to say anything else on that because I hate when people are like, "Oh, you hate the guy. Why do you hate the guy?" It's like I don't hate him. I just am not a fan of his. All right, moving on to New England and Buffalo. New England will win big, and Brady will get me some mad points in fantasy. That is the truth. That's all I'm going to say. New England has got to win this game. Amendola has got to have a big game. Amendola will break out this year, and Amendola will become the all-time leader in receptions for Patriots, all-time leader in touchdowns in the NFL. He's going to break every single record in the next 2 years for New England. That's all I'm going to say because he better do it. I like Amendola a lot, and I think Brady, he says he's better than ever, and I'm really scared to see what this is going to be like. I actually like Tom Brady quite a bit. I say that he's on New England. I'm not a big Patriots fan. I'll root for him. I'll definitely be rooting for him if they go up against the Broncos. But other than that, I really don't. I mean, I'm not a big Patriots fan, but I like Brady, and he's on my fantasy team. So I mean, why not? The Bears and Bengals. Bengals will win in Chicago and start their quest for the AFC Championship game. Bengals will win. Chicago won't do anything. Testman, again, I'm happy if the Bengals win just because I want the Bears to just. I want them to be so bad that they get relegated from the NFL and have to go to the CFL. That's how bad I want them to lose this year. I know that's never going to happen because it's never possible for that to happen, but, a man can dream. A man can dream. That's all I'm going to say. Bengals will win. Dalton's a stud. AJ Green, whenever he's healthy, he's a stud. That whole team is just studly. You got James Harrison on the defense? Come on now. James Harrison. I love the man. He's a beast. Absolute beast. Bengals win. That's all I'm going to say. Miami at Cleveland. All the experts are picking the Browns to win. I'm going the other way. Dolphins win in Cleveland, but Richardson destroys their defense. Richardson, if you're listening to this before the game, Trent Richardson, you beautiful man, please kill their defense. Please kill their defense. Run wild. Score 5 touchdowns on the ground. But just don't win the game. That's all I'm going to say. Dolphins have to win. Dolphins have to win. They're the only team to challenge the Patriots this year in that division. Buffalo I don't see doing it unless they have some magical start. The Jets, yeah, it's the Jets. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Miami wins. Dolphins win with their new logo and their new logo. Tannehill, I think, is a good quarterback. I think that he's underrated, and I think that team will be dangerous the next couple of years. I think so. Vikings and Lions in Detroit. This is where I'm a little divided. I want both teams to succeed, so whoever wins will make me happy. Just as long as the Bears are last in the NFC North at the end of the year. I am a diehard Packer fan, okay, and I used to hate the Vikings. I mean, I absolutely hate them. But I recognize that those two teams are the future of that division, and it's the black and blue division for a reason. The most hard-hitting, beastly. I mean, those teams, even though some of those teams don't get the wins, you gotta admit the talent on all of those teams, except for the Bears, on all those teams, they're so amazing and they're so talented and they're ready for a breakout year. I think Vikings will win. I think the Vikings will make the playoffs, and I think the Packers will win the division. The Vikings will make the playoffs, and I think everybody will be happy, and I'll be happy. And, I love Adrian Peterson. I think Christian Ponder is a stud. I think Kyle Rudolph is good. I think Greg Jennings is going to add a dimension to that offense. I think that defense with Chad Greenway, Jared Allen, it's just amazing. I hate that Antoine Wilson retired. He was a great player, too, he was a great cornerback for them for a long time. Or Antoine Winfield, too it is. Great player. He retired. I was so sad when I heard that. So sad. Moving on to the Raiders and Colts. Okay, we have the Colts and the Raiders. The Colts will beat the Raiders as Andrew Luck starts out great on the season. He will have the best sophomore year in history. In history, he will break all of his records, and he will lead them to the playoffs for a third straight year. Is it third straight or second straight? Second straight. Weren't they in the playoffs a couple years ago? No. Second straight year. I get kind of confused because I forgot they played Baltimore. And then, man, I'm all screwed up. I don't remember. I think it was the year that before they went 1-16 or 2-16 or 2-14. The year that they played the Ravens and lost, and they played the Bengals and lost. So I don't really remember that. But Colts will win. They'll have the best. They'll have a really good year. They'll be second in that division, no doubt, behind the Texans, who I think are going to be. If everybody stays healthy on that team, everybody across both sides of the ball, that team will be the most dangerous team in the AFC to come out in a long time. almost as dangerous as the 16-0 Patriots. Everybody forgets, they lost in the Super Bowl. They didn't go perfect. But that team, oh my gosh. All I'm going to say on that one. I keep on saying all I'm going to say because that's how I am. That's how I feel this morning. I'm all pumped up for NFL tomorrow. Tampa Bay versus the Jets. Buccaneers will win as Revis gets revenge on the Jets for not re-signing him. It's the Jets and it's Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a lot better of a team than the Jets are. And I like the Jets. And I'm a big Mark Sanchez fan. But I think Buccaneers will win just because I think they're a lot more talented, and I think they're a lot more deadly. Because it's gonna happen. Tampa Bay is gonna win. If they don't win, then it's week one, of course. I said week one doesn't really matter, but some of these teams, if they don't start off good, then they won't be good. That's just how it seems to be sometimes. Tennessee and Pittsburgh. I love the Steelers. My dad's a huge Steelers fan. Steelers will win at home as D shuts down CJ2K. Chris Johnson looked really good in the preseason, but against preseason, and I think Roethlisberger will win that game with his arm. Honestly, I think Pittsburgh wins that game. Honestly, if they don't win that game, they really need to look at what they're doing. I cannot believe they got rid of Jonathan Dwyer. He is a beast. And that running game needs to tune up. Sorry, yawning again. Seattle and Carolina, the most underrated matchup of the weekend. Most underrated matchup. Cam Newton starts off his junior year in the NFL. Russell Wilson, he will have a good sophomore season too. I got to pick Seattle wins this. I have to pick them. Seattle will win this game to start their division title run. Honestly, I think Seattle will win the division title. Now, the defense of Seattle is a little bit injured on the line, and their linebacking core isn't as strong right now. But I think that team, their secondary is so fantastic. And Cam Newton's sometimes the way that he reads the routes of his receivers, how he just throws it kind of like it's out in the field, would not even whenever he miscalculates and knows where they're going. Richard Sherman in that secondary, those balls are going to be back for touchdowns like nobody's business. Back for touchdowns. They're going to be gone. Seattle will win this game. I just know they will. If they don't, then I'll be happy. Not saying that I want them to lose, but if they don't win and Carolina wins, I won't be upset and I won't be mad. That's just how it is with that matchup. Kansas City plays Jacksonville. Kansas City wins big in Jacksonville. It's only 2 hours away from me because it's Jacksonville. They'll win in Jacksonville because it's Jacksonville. I want to see if the Jacksonville Jaguars have actually sold out their stadium. First game of the season. I'm gonna watch that and see if it's on local. I just want to know. I don't think so. They've been advertising as my dog likes to shake off all this crap. What are you doing, dog? Okay. So, they've been advertising season tickets forever. Down here. So I don't know. We'll see. Arizona, St. Louis in St. Louis. The Rams will win big as Trayvon Austin goes ham. I did that voice on purpose, by the way, with the voice crack and everything. St. Louis will win. It's Arizona. I think, but I do think that Carson Palmer and good old Larry Fitzgerald are both going to have big years. I think it's just going to happen. My dog keeps on licking himself. I'm sorry. I had to go away for a second. I think that game will be a lot closer, but I think that Rams will win in the end. As people, I forgot who it is. I think Mark Schler said that Rams. The person we'll be talking about on Monday, or on Tuesday, or on Monday. Yeah, Monday will be Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford will be who we're talking about on Monday. Which I could agree. I could really agree. I think that's going to happen. I think Sam Bradford's ready to have a good year. I really do. Giants and Cowboys Sunday Night Football on NBC with Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth and Carrie Underwood. No more Faith Hill. Those legs, man. Those legs. Dear God. This is where I'm really undecided in the way of picks. Anyone can win on any given Sunday. That's all I'm going to say with that. Again, I'm sorry. It's just in my mind for some reason. I really can't pick a team in that. Kyle's going to hate me for saying this. I think the Giants will ultimately win that game, but I think the Cowboys are going to be extremely good, and it pains me to say that. I'm sorry, Kyle. I'm just not a Cowboys fan. I just don't like the Cowboys. I just don't. I don't know. I think the Giants will win that, but I'm so undecided about it because I don't know what team. Because we really didn't get to see. Week 1 is how we get to see how the teams will really look. Honestly, exhibition preseason games do not count at all of how they look. But Giants and Cowboys, it's up for air. It's up in the air. Honestly, it's the Giants' game to lose at this point. Then on Monday Night Football, Eagles and Redskins in Washington D.C. and the return of RG3. Redskins will win at home. I can pick that because, it's the Eagles. If the Eagles win this game, I will be shocked. Alfred Morris has got to have a big game for me. Got to have a big game. Fantasy, man. It's fantasy football because it's back to football this weekend. And then the matchup I'm really going to be watching Monday night. The Houston Texans and the San Diego Chargers. Texans demolished that Chargers defense and went on the road at Qualcomm. The Texans, again, are probably the team that I see as the most dangerous in the NFL this season just because they have everything and they are ready to break out. The running game is good. Ben Tate is a beast at running back. Arian Foster is too. Ben Tate, oh my gosh. And then you have Matt Schaub, who I thought was underrated to begin with whenever he was with Atlanta, and they should have kept him. They would have won so many championships by now. I'm just playing, but they could have by now, at least. Andre Johnson is still young. He is an old man possessed man-child. There's so many acronyms, there's so many adjectives to say for Andre Johnson. But there is one that you can't say. He is injury-free. That's just the one thing about Andre Johnson that I've just been like, come on, man. Come on. But that defense, I think they're better without Mario Williams, who's on Buffalo. J.J. Swat is a beast. Their backup to J.J. Swat is a beast. Brian Cushing is a stud. He's a top 10 linebacker at that. Even maybe top 7. And then Ed Reed. That man is so... I don't know. Words can't even describe Ed Reed. He's ageless. He's like Ray Lewis. They're ageless. They're really ageless. They're... Man. The game of football is so exciting. Texans win. I'm just telling you, Texans will win that game. Philip Rivers is a little bit overrated still. And they haven't been the same since LaDainian left. They haven't been the same. And that defense hasn't been the same since Merriam left. And now Casillo's left too. In the middle. He's a Denver Bronco now. But kind of in conclusion, kind of to wrap this episode up of Football Talk, you guys. The game of football is an amazing game. It is definitely a game that should not be tarnished with any kind of cheatery or scandals or thuggery or wimpy penalties. I understand the targeting penalty. I just want to see defense be able to do what they can do on the line, hit receivers. I know about the concussions, but eventually we're going to have the NFFL, the National Flag Football League. That's what it's going to turn into. It's going to be 7-on-7. There will be no more linemen. There will be no more main course, I don't know, dineries that you want to call of quarterbacks. You know, it will be all these skinny guys. You know, it's just going to be game of football. Those guys sign up for what they sign up for. That's the truth. If you talk to any football player, they're going to tell you that they don't want their kids playing football already. You know? And I agree. Some of these guys, they got, dear Lord, they have dislocated hips, dislocated jaws, broken collarbones, and they still go out there and play. Some of them do. I don't know. The game of football has almost been pussified, whatever you want to call it. Let defense play defense. I'm a big defensive-minded person. I love defense. And I love offense too, but defense. I love it when a game comes down to a field goal because it's tied 7-7. I just love those type of games. So, in retrospect, I think it is good for them to kind of crack down on people being safe and really, see that is good for the game of football. But I get tired of this whole debate about player safety. I understand, but they did sign up for what they wanted to do with their lives. They kind of did sign up for it whenever they started playing, if they wanted to go to the NFL. But I think, again, and it's kind of in closure, NFL is back. Enjoy the best football that you can possibly watch. Now, I know college is great, but in my opinion, it is the best. There is so much lore to the National Football League since its creation in the 60s, to the first team in the Arizona Cardinals, who were the Chicago Cardinals back then, I believe. I think that it's good. It's a great thing to watch. It's a great thing for families to watch. I think that it's personally, in my opinion, college football. I love the spirit of people, but right now with the BCS and stuff like that, it's so corrupt and fickle that it's not right for the game of football to be like that. I think everybody should be given a chance, and that's what's so great about the NFL. So again, watch NFL this Sunday. There's not that many good college games on, so I'd say get everything you have to get done today. Sit down and watch some of the best football you can possibly watch. And really enjoy the season openers for every team, especially the home teams. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Again, I'm sorry about that. But definitely check out some football this week, you guys. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I did. Next week I should be able to have Kyle on here to talk some Alabama and some good old Texas A&M football. So, thank you guys for listening. This is Marksman signing out. Football Talk episode 2 is done. I'm about to go watch some College Game Day. Hope you guys are too. Well, by the time this goes up, good old Miami and Florida will be playing. So, hope you guys enjoy the games today and tomorrow. See you guys next week. Bye.